Well, good morning, well, or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. We are the Global Grandmothers Council Network Volunteers meeting. This is our third volunteer Zoom. Hi, Rena, good to see you. And we are going to be talking about where we are, who we are, and what we bring to the table, what our personal vision is, as well as what our collective vision is. And to just get started, before we go too far, I'm going to share my screen, and then we're going to take some deep breaths after I read this together. So I wanted to read the Declaration of the Global Grandmothers Council Network members. This is what these are the statements that came out of the values that all of our members shared, and it was kind of coalesced into some small statements. As an individual and member of the Global Grandmothers Council Network, I vow to live according to my personal values, which enhance my life and enrich our community and the lives of those we love. We're not asking anyone to commit to anything except their own personal values. Our vision statement for Global Grandmothers Council Network: we hold a vision for our world where respect for the sacredness of all life is honored. And our mission statement: our mission is to deeply listen to women's voices in the space of curiosity to learn from another experience. Thereby, we will weave values and multiple wisdom, creating caring, social, economic, political, educational, environmental, cultural, and spiritual domains for the health and well-being of all. So let's just take some deep breaths together now before we begin our conversations. Breathing in and out through the nose. Breathe in deeply. Fill your lungs all the way to your diaphragm. Take your awareness all the way to your tailbone. And release everything as you exhale. Breathe in. Hold your breath at the top. Allow it to fill your body with all that prana and life force, and release that life force into our group. One more deep breath in. Hold it and open your heart to everyone here in this room now and those who watch later, that every word we speak, every thought we think, every action we take is aligned with clear, purposeful intention for the greater good of all through the Global Grandmothers Council Network and into the world, for a foundation for a world that works for all. And so it is. So it is. Okay. I'm going to share my screen again here at this point. I want to have, as we talk, I want to have this up for us to see. We had this call yesterday. Just a minute. Also the volunteers came yesterday, and we came to the conclusion in that call that what we really need is that each one of these spheres that are the organizational structure for our Grand Council and our growth, that we see each sphere that there's a human who holds the seed until we are fully formed, that someone holds the seed for, say, events. They were like, well, I may not have all the skills necessary for this seat, but I'm going to step up and step in and say, I'll help gather the people that do have the skills and experience for this seat. And each one of these, as a group gathers, say events, and a group coalesces together, then that group will recommend one of their members to be the representative on the Grand Council. And that's true for all of these. And administration, I would say that, any budgeting and planning and things like that fall under administration. And I would really welcome other members on that team. That's kind of my main level of working. So the LGC support, just to quickly run through this, is local grandmother council. So these are the on-the-ground councils. And the GGC is the Global Grandmothers Council support. So those will be the online councils. And they need different kinds of support. So they have different spheres. The website intention, and I don't know, have you seen the website yet? Any of you? Pamela, you have? Okay, let me see if I can pull up. So join.globalgrandmotherscouncil.org. Yeah. This is our landing page for the new site. And we were talking, and Rena helped us with this, that we were talking about the terms that we use in this world out of patriarchy that don't apply to something that's being formed newly as circles and councils and with grandmother's wisdom. The term member, everybody knows what that means, but it's not really the best word. And levels of membership, that kind of feels patriarchal too. And, there's a lot of language that we use that's colonization language. So we're just really looking at how we can rename things. So we called them growth opportunities. And on here is the video with One Divine, our webmaster, where we talked about the website in depth on 9/9 as we launched this page where we have. So there are 4 levels. I'm going to tell you about the 4th level that's not on here. So the seeds are free, and there are lots of things lots of benefits. And I encourage you to go look at this and see what the benefits are for each category. The flowers are those who are already blooming. They're like, I have my own group I want to lead. I've been teaching. I know who I am. I know what I'm bringing. And I'm going to bring it. The seeds are those who are just checking it out. Maybe they are going to consider being a flower or a fruit nut later, but they're just going to see where are we going with this. And the fruit and nuts are those who are solid leaders in their communities, and they want to have all of the global network available to them and their groups. They can have up to 3 groups in here. We're going to have forums just like social media. So there's a lot of things you can look at on your own. So this is the landing page. And then the 4th category, which is not listed on here, are the roots and branches. And these are benefits, not costs. So the roots and branches are those who offer to sit on a council seat. And at the end of their year of service, their fruit and nut membership is refunded to them, or they get a code that gives them a free membership for a year, one way or another. That's all the behind the scenes things that are working together to get solidified in this next month before the full website is available on 10/10. Right now, we're just inviting people to step in and support us early and help us get to the results that we see this website offering. So I'm going to go back over here now to the spheres. Each one of these spheres, there's a video under featured on the Facebook page. If you go to the featured and then scroll down in the featured posts, I made a little video of this so you can read about each one, just a basic understanding. This is all up for revision as the council comes together, but this was just the first steps. So each one of these is described, and it talks about, like, the events has to work with all of the other councils to make sure that we're in collaboration, coordination. The core values, the core council. So we're using the 12 around one model. I don't know if do any of you know of Barbara Marx Hubbard's work in the sectors of society? Have you heard of Barbara Marx Hubbard? No? Well, she was a futurist who was actually a vice presidential candidate with David Kucinich in the US, one of the first women to step into those roles. She's a futurist. She just passed a few years ago, and she designed a 12 around one model where governments could break down the silos between, like, transportation and education and health and welfare and work together harmoniously to create a flourishing society. And she did work with the government in the Clinton years, and they worked on trying to break down those silos where everybody's separate. But as I've worked with her work throughout the years, it came to me that the 12 around one is a seed. It's like a masculine principle and a seed that gets planted. And the one in the middle is what you're all working towards. So in her model, community was in the center and all the different aspects of community. So in this model, the core values council is in the middle, and it's surrounding and holding all of the other councils to ensure that values are key throughout it all. So each of these spheres of influence are supported by and held by the core values council. So I just want to open it up now. I'm going to stop the share and open up our conversation. If you would like to unmute. Oh, hi, Brenda. I didn't see you come in. Let's just go around the circle now, and we'll start with Pamela and just go around and listen to what y'all have to say. Pamela, if you would then take it to Pat and then to Joan. We're going to consider this spiraling, and we'll close. Then from Brenda, we'll start back in again and see where we are.
Thank you, Mariana. I'm not sure that I have a lot to share right now, except that I'm so very grateful. The spheres and the 12 around one have a lot of meaning for me, and especially as you say that the core values are not only in the center but surrounding. There's a beautiful image of that, which I've seen, and it's a very in antiquity it was used, and it's interesting to see it fleshed out here like this. I did read a little bit about the meeting yesterday, and of course, on my heart now is, okay, where do you feel called? What are you supposed to do? Along with, be very involved in a local circle, a circle within a circle. So wheel within a wheel. So those my observations where I'm at, and thank you. If I may turn it to Pat, unless somebody has a question for me.
We'll go to Pat. Go for it. Welcome, Heart Song.
I was very excited when I saw the first post on Facebook because since I came into what I feel my haghood at 60, when I stopped dyeing my hair and I embraced being a gran, I felt that women's wisdom, older women's wisdom, is really important. I have a very strong connection with the natural world and also a strong heart connection with people around the world who are suffering. And I think we have something to give that way. I'm a very political animal. I have been since I was 14, but it's been tempered over time with wisdom from a shamanic teacher and from connecting into the land and connecting with animals, which I'd never done until I was an adult. So what I have to offer, I'm not sure. I'm quite good at making things happen. I don't always have the ideas, but I'm quite good at doing the minutiae of making something happen. So I offer that.
Thank you. Joan?
Hi, let me introduce myself. And my name is Joan Enoch. I live in Sequim, Washington on the Olympic Peninsula. I'm 84. I'm a grandmother of 6 adults, young adults, who are struggling in this world at this time. My background is in medicine and psychiatry, psychoanalysis, whatever. I feel like all of this is almost lost to me. So it's very hard to know what I have to offer, given that I feel like I'm falling off the edge of my known world, at least. I've been very admiring of the women who are so connected to spirit, whereas I guess my life has been I'm going to use the word materialist, but I don't mean it in terms of money and things. I'm a poet. I actually have been acknowledged in my community or surround in terms of poems about trees, whereas I used to rant about politics and how awful the world is and whatever. I don't know what I have to offer to this group. I'm very impressed with all you, what I will call young women. To me, at least it feels like you are young women, or a lot of you. And I was able to lead, I led groups in my life. I was a leader of, I helped people individually as a doctor and analyst, etc. But I'm in awe of all of you who have connected to what I would just call higher spheres, or at least what you have called higher spheres, which I'm not that connected to. I've followed somewhat of a Buddhist-like psychology philosophy path in my life. I read a lot. I've been reasonably smart, but I think it's leaving me at this point. And someone will have to tell me how I can be most helpful, because I can't step forward at this point and say, I can do this and I can lead that. But I'm here to be as helpful as I can be, because I believe in this so very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say, Joan, that we've been talking about an advisory council, and that might be something that you would consider with your wisdom in that realm. So thank you.
Thank you. And so on to Janet.
Thank you, Joan. You're much closer to me than you think. I'm up here in Canada, in Alberta, but presently in British Columbia. I'm 71. I don't know how I found you guys, but I am passionate about change and support. I was an emergency police dispatcher for 40 years. And I have 4 grandchildren and soon to be 2 great-grandchildren. I have a 4-year-old great-grandson and soon to have a new one in December. I'm multifaceted. Presently have no educational degrees to traditional degrees, lots of different training due to trauma. And I just feel I want to be a legacy for my grandchildren and work at this. When this showed up, it was like, wow, I don't know where I fit in. Advisory to some point, maybe. I work with people that have gone through trauma to keep them moving forward. So, you know, just, I think our age, and I think it was Pat that said it best, was, do you know what? We get to this age, we've got a lot of knowledge. And I think this is a platform that can do powerful things. And Mariana, you and your team, I can't believe that website. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the 12 things. I have a wisdom coaching circle where I work with people to move forward. And just because we, as a group, we feed off each other. And that's what like Joan said, like, I don't know where I fit in, but in a group like this, when you start talking, my brain just goes boing, 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 boing. So yeah, wherever I will clarify, I'm not really political. I try and stay away from the news as much as possible. I lived it in my job and so took it from there. And my husband was a policeman too. So it just, I had lots of that there. But anyways, where I would love to see more where I could be of service. And I have done some writing. I have some publications out there, but I am very honored to be in this group right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Ala.
Sorry, I forgot to mention.
Hi. I go by Dr. Ala just because that's easier professional. Dr. Ala, the dancing gypsy doctor. I retired my physician license. I've done just about everything I could do in medicine, including too many years of get the emergency room. I've done integrative medicine. I've done acupuncture. I've done herbs, homeopathy, healing, coaching. I'm certified coach. I'm certified in facilitating a modality called transcendence, which is a form of conscious dance. And in my group, which we just come together and we dance together, and it's the group where you're seen as you are, and that's what we strive for. So I am beyond thrilled that Spirit decided to put this into my feed, because for years I've a vision of Global Grandmothers Council, not the same as the 13 indigenous grandmothers like Florida Maya and stuff, because their mission is slightly different. And I felt like we as women at certain queen age start to have wisdom and start to own ourselves so we can relate to the world differently. And in just commenting, in emergency room, we are disconnected from spirit, from feelings and all of it. That is just a skill that we learn. So now that I am not there feeling for the patient, I actually feel that I'm talking to the trees again, and I'm connected to the spirit, and I am guided again. It never went away. It's just giving ourselves permission. So to me, I'm so honored to be part of this. I know I'm the best at doing one-on-one and being face-to-face with people and holding groups, in holding space and facilitating groups. I know that tech is out of my zone of even competency, although I figured out a lot of stuff that I do just by poking things. So I'm fully capable of learning and growing. And I also know that I can bring more where my zones of genius are, which is holding women and giving you that feeling of being seen just as you are. No masks. Because you're perfect. There's nothing wrong. Nothing needs to be changed. And trauma is one of the things that we all have in one form or another. When we move to music, especially curated, it allows the body to release those emotions so we can move them through the body. That's why I'm so passionate. It's like I'm tired of saving people that fell off the cliff when I can help them. So this is like whatever I can do to help, because I have 6 grandchildren from like 5 to 22. And the world we're living them right now is just breaks my heart. So whatever we can do to help them feel the love and the life that they're here to feel.
Marina.
Oh, this is so awesome. Yeah, those hearts, I'm sending more energetically. Thank you. It's just such an honor to be here. I have been having dreams and visions of women sitting with each other all over the world for years now. I don't think I was ready to join as an elder until recently, because I'm now officially an orphan in this realm. My parents have passed on. My mother, who was really an anchor, passed on 2 years ago. And the beautiful thing that has happened since she left is that I've been able to weave together my legacy as a healer and an educator and a connector with her legacy of activism. And so I'm very much a weaver. I love that model of 12 with the 13 in the middle. That's very much a part of my training. I was actually ordained as a Hebrew priestess and a Jewish spiritual guide and storyteller, and do a tremendous amount of work with Palestinian sovereignty and liberation. And so yeah, my heart is just full. I have a business called Joyous Shout, because my job, my calling at this point is to support change makers. And I have lots of different ways that I do that. And so I've already sort of been working with the transition team a little bit around language and around how we're holding and how to be inclusive. I run a wisdom circle here, and I have for years. I do a lot of fun things. And I kind of resonate with what people are saying, is like, tell me what you need and I'll do what I can. And I also know that my gifts lie in the area of holding space, also of consulting people around change, like what is our language? How do we have a clear vision? How do we connect people together in a way that includes everyone and honors everyone? I do have some tech knowledge because I've had to teach myself with the help of the younger ones. I started with nothing and now I have a little.
So yeah, I saw several things on that circle that I could plug into, both the local and the global. Yeah, I don't know. I could say so much, but I think that's good for now, maybe. And Brenda, last but never least.
Hmm.
So exciting. This is my name is Brenda. I'm from Louisville, Colorado, near Boulder. And a native. My heritage is Native American and Spanish, Portuguese. But all from here, all from Four Corners, Colorado. And this is my second meeting actually. And because I did have a calling here, really embracing being a grandmother of my grandchildren, that really shifted 9 years ago. My first born just really shifted. And I felt like I really needed to, be there as for him, for my grandchildren, for my son. And then as soon as that child was born, then I saw the future. It was crazy. I saw the future, but man, now I'm into generations. So I've been really, really focused on my spiritual path, my purpose here, and a lot of just knowing that I need to find where I could share my wisdom and with like-minded women. And I found this group, and I'm really, really excited about being here, just listening to all of you. And yes, I feel that same way with the, where I could contribute. I see myself in a lot of those, but it's almost like not quite sure where, but I really want to be involved. So I'm very excited about being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's do another deep breath and just feel what all has been shared into this circle. And I'm just going to fully share and be honest in this moment. I have a SVT, if any of you know what that is, and my heart is just racing as we're talking here. It's benign, it's nothing to worry about, but my heart races from time to time, and it is here in this energy of the multiplication of the cells that we are, that as we bond together in groups like this, we each change and grow. And what this Global Grandmothers Council network is going to become is unknown. And that's the beauty of it, is that as each of us bring our full selves into the culture that's being created, it magnifies and intensifies each of our individual frequencies and passions and purposes. So we each become more than we are, and we become more united. And one thing I have loved about our circles, we were at the very tail end of a process when Rena came into our transition team, and she's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, what that language you're using, this and that," and we all just immediately were like, "Oh yes, thank you for the permission to shift this word and shift that word," because it is together that we grow, and none of us has the idea that is the ultimate idea. And while I have the grand privilege and honor, even not being a grandmother myself, I have children, but not grandchildren, to be shepherding this group and guiding it into organizational structure and providing some foundational support that we can grow upon. We are grassroots. We are growing from earth up through us. There is not a pattern being imprinted down from the top. This is what's growing from within. And I feel, what's been on my mind and heart for a couple of days is the idea of receiving as women. We've been called receptors. We're receptors, but yet we're expected to be the givers. We're receivers, but we're supposed to be all the caregivers. So how does that work? And I've just been really solid in our receiving is because of our interconnection with our own source energy. And we receive that divine essence through our being. So we have more than enough for ourselves, and it can spill over into our service for others. Janet, yes, please.
Just listening to when you're talking about givers, receivers, and that, it came to me gatherers and nourishers. You know, we've gathered all of this, or rather, we've gathered and absorbed so much, but whether it books, experience, or travel, whatever, the people we come into contact with. And now that we've gathered all that from all these amazing people that are here, you guys all blow my mind, but that's what we can do now. And sorry, you talk about heart racing. I just get like a little kid excited. And Mariana, I can't tell you how grateful I am to be here. And like I say, put me wherever I can learn. Tech, not so much. I don't want to mess anything up. But I am so full of knowledge that I didn't even know I had until I start talking and writing, and grew up in a time when, you know what, and most of you at a certain age, right? We grew up where we weren't even considered, I was never considered very smart. And, but now I have all this knowledge. I go somewhere and I'm talking all the time because I want to share it. You know, I don't know how many more years I've got on this earth. And for my legacy to my kids, to my first responders that are struggling, to, you know, let our kids be the ones, and our grandkids to be the ones to carry on this legacy, to make that difference. Because who was it? Was it the Dalai Lama that said that the women from the Western world are going to, you know, change? I don't remember the exact wording, but we'll heal the world, right? From all over. So feeling really blessed, guys. You guys made my day.
Yeah, thank you. We are. And I want to touch on we don't have degrees. Some of us have degrees, some of us don't. It doesn't matter, because we are learners, and we each know our own gifts and talents and what we are here to bring, and that's what's important. You know, I don't have a degree, but I was a consultant to the U.S. Department of Education. I've restructured private schools. You know, but that doesn't matter, because I learned through experience. And that's what we're here to bring, is our experience, and to honor and respect each other equally. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to, does anyone else have something they'd like to bring in this moment?
Can I just read this quote in answer to Janet? Women grow radical with age. One day, an army of gray-haired women may quietly take over the earth. Gloria Steinem.
Yeah. We're the gray tsunami and the silver tsunami. We've talked about what are we going to call ourselves, and we've been doing hashtag gray tsunami, and it seems to work well. So from my perspective, you know, our first steps are, you know, finding the seeds that will hold the seat for each of these council members. And I see it like a living culture. That's why I want to call it a seed, not a seat. We're holding the seed for it. And as you know, as Peace Production, our nonprofit, we were in Oregon, and we were working in Ashland, Oregon, several years ago, as Ashland developed the Ashland Culture of Peace Commission. It was an outside organization designed to work with city government based on the UN culture of peace. And we were invited in to help form the foundation and the structure of that organization. And we were involved in the languaging and every aspect of it. And my heart just kept insisting the importance of considering the culture and how careful you have to be with a culture, because there are elements that can come into a culture that will completely destroy it. And we have to have a safe and secure container for our culture, which is why the website, the new technology offered through this website, is safe and secure more than any other that we've seen. Rena. You're muted still.
There we go. Okay, let me lower my hand because it gets distracting. Yeah, so I wanted to I feel called to say something to you, Joan, because I was just so touched about sort of being at that jumping off point. I think one of the things that I'm particularly interested in is how do we hold the unknown and stay present, even though it's scary. And I think those of us who are closer to the final adventure have a particular place in guiding the rest of us. I'm 62. And, you know, I study with Lama Rod Owens, who's an amazing human. And he says, you know, dissolving is holy. And so, you know, I've had plenty of experience with thinking I know things only to have them dissolve like biodegradable paper and water. So I just want to say that's a holy thing, that not knowing and dissolution. And I'm particularly excited to have room for that, in addition to the concrete things that we're discussing.
May I?
Yes, Joan, please.
Rena, you could be my daughter. I mean, age-wise, background-wise, I come from a Jewish background from Brooklyn, New York, Coney Island area. For those of you from another country, it's kind of known to be a little off the wall, but yes, I feel a bit the dissolving. I've personally been working on issues of death and being able to accept endings, and purposely losing ego, trying to become nobody from how much I held on for a very long time to being a somebody, not necessarily with a big S, but somebody. And I do think I have things to offer to you youngsters like Rena. And I'm uncertain. I am uncertain what it is. And I haven't been in the spiritual realm very much in terms of people talking about higher levels. But I've tried to be as conscious as I can. And I've tried to be as activist as I could when I could. So yes, I thank you for what you said, and I do think I have something to offer. My technology knowledge is very limited. I'm amazed that I was even able to get here today, but here I am, and thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Pat.
Yeah, I forgot I could do the thing down here. No, what came to me just then very strongly is that there should be a space in this for us to be death doulas, to help people who are ourselves, and to discuss, to meditate, to hold for people who are passing. And that's something I'd really like to do. I don't know if there's room, but it just shot through me, so I thought I'd say it.
Absolutely. I have two mantras I want to share of my own heart in this moment. One of my things that I say often is, I know what I know when I know it. Otherwise, I don't know anything. And that knowing changes all the time. But I know that I can trust what's inside of me, and that's the only true knowing that I really have. And the other is a mantra that I received from Isis. Sacred fire, show me the miracle in this situation. You know, that's powerful. Sacred fire, be the miracle in this situation. Sacred fire, make me the miracle in this situation. This is a space where the sacredness of the fire, of the culture, of the offering is the most valuable thing we have. And we are the treasures. We have been digging through the compost and finding the little gemstone here and the little gemstone there and getting them polished and ready to be set in the crown, or the seeds being planted in the garden. Since we're using this garden metaphor, these seeds, we have to be careful what seeds we plant. And not only that, we have to be careful where they plant them. We aren't going to plant the death doulas next to the children's garden, but they have to have space for both. You know, so these are the kind of considerations that we're asking for your conscious participation with. You know, I've been laying out a lot of ideas and a lot of foundational structure. And the foundational structure is mutable. It's all transformable based on what wisdom comes in beyond that. And I feel like, you know, as everyone, you know, is able to see these videos, since we're recording and posting them, and looking at those 12 spheres and feeling into it for your own self and reading what are they about, and going, you know, maybe I would be good in this circle. Maybe I don't want to step up and say, I'm going to be the chair, I'm going to be the seed, but I could influence this circle. And then our next series of calls can be first about the circles as a whole, the whole thing, and then break it up into the individual spheres. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about for next week. Because we have to keep moving quickly, and it's alive, and we don't want to let it sit too long because it'll get hungry. We have to keep feeding it. So let's go back around one more time. Go ahead, Janet. Why don't you start, and we'll spiral from you back up to the top, and we'll end with me this time.
Okay, as you already know, I'm very grateful to be here. But what I'd like to know is, where's everybody from? I know that Joan, are you in Oregon or Washington State?
Washington State, on the Olympic Peninsula,
Yeah.
for the last 7 years.
Yeah, familiar with it. And Brenda, I know where you are pretty much, because one of the things that my husband and do, we host it all over the world. And
Can I just
we
say,
actually meet people. Yes, go ahead.
Can I just say, as we go around, and often we
Okay.
do this, and I didn't do this in the beginning, as I ask, please state where you are in the world, and if you know the indigenous roots of your place of being, would be great to acknowledge that. Go ahead again, Janet. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. So I'm just kind of confused. What do you want us to say? Just that we're grateful to be here. I'm looking forward to finding out more of where I can play a role, and when your next calls are scheduled so that I can be there. So that's me. And I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Thank you.
Should we go back to Pamela?
I think Dr. Alla would be next if we're going in the spiral from you.
That depends on which Zoom windows I'm looking.
which
There's like
direction.
constantly moving. So actually, I'm originally I'm a Russian Jew, and we left Soviet Union right before it collapsed in 1989. Right now, I am on Oregon coast, kind of smack in the middle, looking at the ocean because I'm parked here till next summer. I've been nomading for 3 years, so that's why online communities are great, and local community. I feel like I'm going from place to place, connecting people, and just being a part of this. I don't think there are words to express the gratitude, and whatever I can offer to support in the gifts that Spirit gave me. And of course, Oregon and Washington are very, very connected to Native and Indigenous communities. And I feel I've had shaman friends and guidance, and this is my favorite part. I think we're living in such a awesome time because the ancient wisdom is finally being acknowledged, and now we have studies to support what ancients knew all along, so the brainy people can get on board too, because it's not woo-woo anymore. It's like we have the studies. So when we're combining all of this, I think right now is just such a blossoming time. So I'm so grateful to be part of it. And thank you all.
Well, let's go Rena, and then Brenda, and then Joan.
I have to tell you, I already want to go for coffee or tea with everybody. I have so much I want to say. Yeah, Dr. Ala, I want to introduce you to somebody who I think you love. I have all these little things now popping up. I am from the Eno and Occaneechi unceded lands in North Carolina, which is Durham. Durham is a very interesting place. I'm originally from New York, from Queens and Brooklyn. What else do I want to say? I mean, incredible gratitude. There's just so much I feel like I can learn, and so much I would love to share if and when it's needed. So I'm on board, whatever it is. And I just look forward to sort of honing in on that. What is, because I always ask the question, it used to be, how can I serve? And now it's, how can I best serve? Because I think the older I get, the more discerning I need to be. Because I tend to be a yes person, and then I get a little bit fried. So trying to be a little more discerning. But again, just thank you so much for bringing us together, and I look forward to the next one.
Yes, Irina, you're so right on. Oh my gosh. And I love what you just said. How can I best serve? That's pretty much where I'm at. I think everyone knows I'm from Colorado, and really excited. I know I feel at home with all of you grandmothers, I mean, because we can't talk like this with other people. And you guys we all get each other. So I love it. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of you much more. Thanks.
Yes, this is a new way of speaking for me because I don't tend to think in this way, but I am living on the land of the Jamestown Clallam tribe. And I know very little more than that they are doing some good local activist things for at least the community around here. There are two casinos, both of which I have been in, run by the tribe. They have a medical group. They just do a lot here, and I'm fairly ignorant. And I just want to say, I have never identified specifically, I am a Jew, but I am a Jew, and I am a Jewess from New York. And I am so sad for what's happening in the Middle East. It's heartbreaking on every level. Again, yes, I guess I want to connect. I want to be useful where I can. Perhaps I can do things that have to do with guidance. I have learned so much from all the patients that I have seen, Vietnam vets and people from the people who have had mental problems and emotional problems and whatever. And I just want to do what I can. And I hope Mayana and others can help me fit in where it would work for this growing community. And I thank you.
Yeah.
I can go if that's.
Yes.
Thank you all so very much. I am from the center of the state of Massachusetts, and the area of Worcester that I live at, very much colonized, is on the shores of Lake Quinsigamond. And the folks here still have a presence, and Sweat Lodge and so forth. Very tiny plot of land in what's called Oxford, a small town. But this past summer, just as an example, they raised a canoe that had been hollowed out from Lake Quinsigamond, and these stories just didn't come forth years ago, but they're all coming up, and as Maya Angelou said, I rise. As far as the dissolving and the ego, Joan, and hearing all of you watching your facial responses, that we're all getting that piece. And it's good to feel that, because I've been on such a long journey of attempting to dissolve and just getting in my own way. And the term that I have been using, I'll share, is let me decrease that you may increase. God bless you all.
Wow. Yeah, I was born in England. You'd probably get that from my accent. Ireland is not England. Or the UK. Ireland is itself, and my heritage would be Welsh, Irish, and a bit English, a tiny bit Italian. And since I came here in 72, I have felt I've come to where my heart belongs. I love the culture around me. It's diverse. It's not all guys playing Irish music and with cloth caps. It's quite, but the first time I came here, I felt very strongly that the fairies were still alive here, that the land is very alive. I feel very blessed to live on it. I have 3 grandsons, 23, 18, and a year. And yeah, the whole thing of being a grandmother is lovely. Yeah. Oh, I want to put out the call. I put out a call for people to light a candle at sunrise on the 21st of September. So I'll put out that call again, for peace. It's a very small thing, but I think if enough of us do it, there are ripples through the ether that might make a difference. And I feel a huge gratitude for being able to share this space with you guys. And yeah, that's it. Sinead, as they say over here, Sinead.
Sinead.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So I am in Stewart, Virginia, named after a Confederate general. In Patrick County, named after Confederate generals, with only 12,000 people in the whole county. The Wolf Creek clan of the Cherokee were our original peoples here, and I have not met any. I know there are some in North Carolina who, rather than Virginia, close by. And we are very much in Confederate mindset in this place where I live. So this gathering here really restores my heart because that's a challenge to be in. I am so grateful for each of you here today, and let's just take some deep breaths again together as we close out. Let's breathe in. Hold that breath at the top for a moment and feel the prana, the life force swirling around you and in you and through you as you breathe it out into our space here in this Zoom, and anyone who watches the Zoom. Take another deep breath in. Hold it and infuse it with your own heart intention for your own life in this moment. And send it out through your heart to all of us as you exhale. And this last inhale, we breathe in each of our heart responses and we feel them swirl together and create something new that's never been before. And we watch with joyous excitement as we breathe it out and into the world and into reality. And so it is. And so we are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Feel free to unmute and say, woohoo! Here we grow.
We do.
Here we grow.
So excited.
Here we grow.
Very grateful.
Yes,
to
yes,
all of
yes.
them.
Thank you, thank you.
So we look forward to an email with next steps, yeah?
Yes, it will come. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
May, how